and I'm the Director of International Admissions at Union College. And we're a little liberal arts and science college in upstate New York. I think what I'll do is share with you my screen so we can both talk about Union very briefly, and then also talk a little bit more about the COVID piece on the Common App and the Common App essay. So I'll tell you that I am both excited to talk about Union and essay writing. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. Union College, like I said, is in upstate New York. So we have the benefit of a smaller size city, about 75,000 people in what is in a much bigger region, Albany being the capital of New York State. And we're very close to Albany. So students live about 20 minutes from our state capital, but in a smaller town that's just easier to get around, safer, a closer community, and a beautiful part of the world with a gorgeous river and mountains all around us, but still a lot of access to really great things in terms of both extracurricular and fun, but also in terms of internships. We have about 40 or more internships just within walking distance of our campus. And you'll hear more about that in terms of Union and why that's important to us. But our campus is all undergraduate, 2,200 liberal arts and sciences. And though most liberal arts have, of course, just like us, a very strong program in the humanities and social sciences, what's unique to Union is that we not only have a significant role in majors in the STEM fields, but specifically engineering is very unique. We're one of 10 undergraduate institutions that offers full engineering, not a cooperative degree program, but full engineering majors. The reason I mention this is that along with our small classroom sizes for our students throughout all 4 years, the things Union focuses on are really the relationship to our professors and making sure that our students have a lot of time to work individually with professors who are top in their field, PhDs. But we've also put on a very strong commitment early on to students taking what they're learning and putting it into action. And a lot of that has to do with research. All of our students will do research during their time at Union, and about 75% or more do multiple research projects throughout their 4 years beyond their standard sophomore seminar and their senior research thesis that they have to do. So Union is very much like some of the larger Ivy Leagues, similar to Princeton in terms of its academic style, where students have a strong focus in research and sort of bringing together the ideas they learn in the classroom and with their professors, but learning research methods in their second year and learning how to not only take what they're learning, but to activate that learning in a very real way. And we think that our base in the STEM fields really has taught our students to thrive and integrated our curriculum to really reflect the belief that all students should be active in their learning and the way that they learn. So we have multiple majors and minors that are available to students, highlighting 4 majors in engineering as well. But some of our largest are psychology, English, computer science, environmental studies. Data analytics is a new one for us that a lot of our students are doing. The other piece I want to mention is 75% of our more of our students are double majoring or seeing their curriculum in multiple disciplines. So you have the ability not only to focus very deeply on one topic, but you also dig a little bit more broadly in terms of what you're studying to go beyond just that one major, but how do you really marry together the things that are interesting to you to really make you much more marketable in the real world for jobs. So not just psychology, but how does psychology look at with anthropology or data analytics for research? What do our chemistry, our biochemists learn when they partner with our anthropology students to really think about what they're doing and when they leave Union in terms of development of their research or the field that they're working in and how that affects people. So we have classes that are taught across discipline. Our professors believe in working together and teaching across disciplines to really integrate the things that students are interested in real and meaningful ways, not just for their first job, but as our president says, for now and for multiple tomorrows. So not just your first job, but all of your futures, right? So for COVID, it's changed all of our current present experience, right? And so what used to be a job may be looking very different going forward in terms of the amount of technology you need to use to do your job, or the amount of data mining you need to do your job. So really preparing students to be flexible and again, marketable across all of their future jobs. So Union, as I mentioned, is a top STEM school, one of the top in the nation, especially so for women. And I mention that because often women are funneled out of the STEM fields in higher education, whereas at Union, women continue to be supported just like our male students all the way through for all 4 years. And I think this highlights again, Union's commitment to supporting every student, regardless of where they come from, to be their best selves, to be their most successful, both in their education, but in internship opportunities and research and job placement beyond. What you're seeing here on the left is our new integrated science and engineering facilities we just completed last year. It's a $100 million expansion to our facilities, which were already top 10 in the nation. And then we just also got another contribution from an alum who is the CFO for Texas Instrument, and he just added another 51 million to our lab and infrastructure and data analytics experience for our students. So beyond that, for our students, really what we want you to do is be successful when you leave Union. And that has to do a lot with internships and, like I said, experience. I mentioned in the earlier on that we have over 40 internships for our students just within walking distance. And one major I forgot to mention, economics and business, is in the top 3 for us always. Within our economics program, our students can focus on business specifically. They can dig a little deeper if they're interested in more of a data delivery, or if they're looking at corporate finance. If students are looking at global nonprofits, they can focus their interest in that. But for all of our students, whether it's business or science or psychology or English, we really work for all 4 years for our students to have multiple internships that are supported by Union, either near our campus or around the world. The other things that we really focus on for our students is the learning outside the classroom. So we are a residential campus. Your learning continues not only in the classroom, but in really fun ways outside the classroom, whether it's through one of our many study abroad experiences. Though you're coming to the US, you may want to go to another country, or you may want to study in one of our opportunities across the United States. But Union supports our students for those opportunities at the same cost as if you were on our campus. So same scholarships and financial aid travel with you to really get your experiences, whether in a full term or one of our 4-credit 3-week mini terms with our faculty, or a year abroad, or one of your summer opportunities. We really support our students to enjoy the broader world and learn from those opportunities. On our campus, we're a close-knit campus, and what I love is that both our president and our staff and faculty, what you'll feel from our students is really the sense of joy that students have about being a part of our campus and being a brother and sister to Union College. And we really are an extended family and look at ways to support our students and engage our students as a community. So whether it's one of our 7 Minerva houses that students are automatically assigned to when you first get to campus, or through our athletic teams, our over 150 clubs and organizations, volunteering, theme houses. There are so many opportunities for our students to come together as a community and really make Union College your home that you'll just continue to attach to and be a part of for the whole rest of your life. So just a quick few numbers of postgraduate. It says my internet's unstable, so I'm going to hold on for a second and hopefully it comes through. There we go. So postgraduate opportunities for our students, 98% or more, I would say almost 100% of our students, international specifically, have jobs or are on to graduate school or in a OPT or STEM option after they leave Union, before they even step foot off of our campus. So our students are finding themselves well placed, both in the US and at home, depending on where they decide to return for opportunities, typically even before they leave our campus. In terms of application, we are test optional for admission. We do require an English test, which we're pretty flexible on what you send for your English test, whether it be TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo. I do a pairing of interviews and other options. We're being super creative and flexible for students. For students in the Indian board curriculum, we do look for some sort of testing to give us a sense, sort of post 10th grade and before you've hit your final boards, we need a little bit of something in the middle to show progression. So testing is super helpful for that. But again, there's interviews, there's other ways for us to get a good assessment of what your abilities are, especially now that things are a little bit shaky in terms of your access for some of those things. We have multiple deadlines for you to choose from: early decision, early action, regular decision. And we do offer merit scholarships for everyone. You're considered automatically based on your application for admission. And then need-based financial aid is based on the CSS profile. So with that, I'm going to end on Union College. Just wanted to give you a little taste. I'm happy to meet with students individually to talk more. But now let's launch into specifically what you're going to see on the Common Application this year. So many schools in the United States do take the Common Application. And we understand that many students have been impacted by COVID and continue to be impacted by COVID. And so the Common Application added this question that really speaks to students and allows them the space to talk about the impact it may have had on their lives. And what I would say to you from an admissions officer or admissions counselor perspective is that this question is tricky because everyone on the entire globe has been impacted by COVID. And some and many maybe have been impacted in similar ways. So many of us have been secluded in our homes and unable to go out and dealing with online learning and living in fear for our friends and our families and experiencing loss. So what I want you to remember is that this question, we assume on our end that everyone has a certain level of common experience with COVID. And we don't expect everyone to explain that common experience in this question. This question really does two things. It allows for those who have had experiences beyond the common COVID experience a space to explain what has happened. So that's, first of all, that's what this space is for only for those who really have had experiences that go beyond the sort of common earth-shattering experience that we all have experienced with COVID. And there are specific things that you like to dig into a little bit deeper. COVID also allows you a space to, this question allows you the space to address anything COVID related, in essence, so that the rest of the application is left really still to focus on you. You don't want your application to become the COVID application, your essay, your activities. Really, you just want it to be in this one spot. And then the rest of your application should be you, in terms of the you that shows up on our campus, the you that sort of existed in your space for your whole life, a much bigger view of who you are. So I think this allows you a space to put that information so as to not have to put it in your essay or anything else that sort of laces it through your application. So know that. Another thing about this COVID question is that this isn't where any changes in your academic experience should be put. There are two places you can put that in additional information, but typically schools will want any sort of change or altering in your academic curriculum. So let's say your access to certain types of courses, your exam schedule or finishing exams, a switch in academic performance, all of that should come from a school official at best, or from an independent counselor that is sort of an external and are able to validate that this is an experience beyond just you, but is something that has happened either school-wide or countrywide academically. So again, this COVID question isn't necessarily the spot for that. Ideally, that would come from an outside official, or like I said, you can put that in additional information where most students will talk about a change in academic experience. So that's a little bit about how to use this COVID question that's on the Common App and how not to use that question. So the next piece is about essay writing. And I have two almost 12-year-old kids. So I watch a lot of Disney and Disney-like films. And for this piece, really what I like is, if you haven't seen Spies in Disguise, first of all, even if you're an adult, it's pretty hilarious. And it's a pretty great film. But typically you say essay writing and people kind of start to do the big like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm gonna write. So I'm gonna break it down a little bit in hopes to make it a little less overwhelming for you. And I'd say oftentimes what students start with is the question rather than understanding really what we're trying to get at with the question. So what is the purpose of the essay? The purpose is to give you the opportunity to personalize your application. It's not actually to answer a question. It's really just a chance for you to give us a little bit more of a sense of who you are. And it's hard to get that through a list of activities. It's hard to get that through a transcript. But the essay is sort of just to give us a little bit of a sliver of a taste of your personality and who you are, and give us a sense of what makes you up, whether it's your ambition or your experiences or a bit of your personality and a little bit about your writing. But mostly it's gives us a chance to get to know who you are. So again, there are these questions on the Common application that you can choose from. And if you're going to use these questions as sort of a prompt or a trigger to think about what you might want to write about, what I would say is these words in red talk about what we're trying to get at and where you might want to brainstorm first about what your essay should talk about. And what you'll see is your thinking, your personal growth, your personal importance, and what captivates you, or your choice. You get to choose what you want to talk about. This is one way students might think about where to begin with the essay. But again, remembering that each of these questions have a lot of words around it, but what we're really trying to get at are those things in red, not necessarily the answer to the question. And I know that sounds a little confusing, but the question is trying to get us to those words in red that again are really just highlighting you. It's a way for us to sort of focus your attention in something that reflects you. So what I always say is the essay topic actually doesn't matter. We don't actually care a whole lot about the essay topic. What we care is how you write and what you reveal about yourself. That's the most important part of the essay component. So this little, again, some Finding Nemo. Who am I? That is the question that you ask, or what we're asking you to reflect upon is, who am I? Which can be a big ask for students who are in the midst of learning from home, maybe questioning who they are, still developing who they are, and going through a lot to sort of figure out that who am I piece. It's a big question for most people, and we're asking high school kids to do it. So how do you get to that? And I have a couple just words of wisdom here. I know I'm talking to the Common Application, but in my mind, the Common Application questions really, again, go back to the who am I piece. I think students who get wrapped up too much in the question forget what we're looking for. And so if you answer a question, what you want to think about is, could this essay come from multiple people? Or is it really telling something unique or personal to me? So I have in the next couple of slides some ways to get through or get to who is uniquely you, or what message am I trying to communicate. And this is from another movie that I'm not sure if you've seen it, but it talks a little bit about personality islands, which I love. So it's inside a little girl's head. And her personality islands are sort of her experiences and what's important to her kind of formed together into an island in her memory and sort of how she works in her brain. So she has family island, she has fun island, she has hockey island. She has these different islands, friendship island, these different islands that are sort of core pieces of who she is. And so one place to start is, what are your islands, right? If you could look inside of yourself, what are the islands that really are significant to you? And how do those things come together to sort of give you a chance to think about what makes you up? right? So one of your essays could be something like thinking about your separate islands through one very focused story that highlights in each paragraph a different part of your personality, a different part of your personality island. So for example, a student was talking to me about her experience in competitive downhill skiing, which anyone could write about. But she took the opportunity to really bring me into that memory and how she was feeling and thinking in the very beginning, feeling sort of intimidated and challenged. And then she kind of walked me through, without even realizing it, each of her islands of support that helped her get through that, her family, and what that impact very personally was for her, and an experience she had with her family that pumped her up, right? And then she skipped to the next of her team and how that, so she walked through each of her islands through this one theme of this one race that she showed up for. And at the end, what I told her was, don't tell me how it came out in the end. That will be in your activities. You will tell me about your experience skiing and the awards you won and the medals. So the other piece of what I would say is, don't repeat what is elsewhere in your application, in your essay. I will know how that came out, but tell me how you felt at the end. That's unique to you. Other people could win a race, but how you uniquely felt at the end, that's specific to you and your experience and your memories in that moment, that very second. That's your experience. The outcome, the race, the award, that's listed elsewhere. So try not to repeat. So some of the other things you can do, other than thinking about the islands, to help build it out a little bit, is to list some interesting facts about yourself. And some of these are from a great book on college essay writing from the essay guy that I really love. He kind of talks about some of these tools that you can use to sort of generate ideas for what you want to write about. And so I listed some things here about some sort of 20 unique or interesting facts that make up your life. So you kind of think about things that pop out to you that you think are interesting and put them on paper that maybe people wouldn't naturally know about you. And when you step back from those 20 interesting things that are unique about you, then is there something in there that could be your theme for your essay, or sort of an idea about your essay that's unique to you that you could write about? So, you know, I could talk about growing up with my 10 cousins and each of the experiences that I had with them, a very close experience that helped develop the pieces of me that are unique, whether it's my personality islands or the things that have popped through maybe one memory with them, right? So taking these unique things, you're drawing a memory, just a very close memory from those unique pieces of you that are interesting, and that can help draw out what might be a very unique essay that's close to you. Essence objects is another thing that the essay guy talks about in terms of ideas. So what are some objects, if you had to think about things that are unique to you, that are objects, that are special, and are not necessarily people, but are things from a memory that really sort of anchor you. So here are some of my things. They're a little bit unique, but they, I think, stick out. So everyone has, my family is German in heritage. And my grandma and my great-grandma, and I even knew my great-great-grandma, they are, you know, from old country. They came over from Germany and settled in the United States. And they took a lot of their habits with them. And so pickling is a very Northern German habit, right? But pickles are different in Northern Germany than India. And so pickled herring, fish, is something that they brought along too. And it's a little bit, it's very unique in terms of families and heritage, but reminds me very much of my ancestry and my time with my grandmother. And so I could write an essay specific to pickled herring and how that works through different memories with each of my grandmothers, who are very important to me in terms of how I grew up and who I am now today. So, and there are other pieces in here too that I could focus on and why that object is important to me. And I could build out an essay that just talks about that essence object, that very specific thing. And there is a list of a ton of questions that are available on how do you get to your essence objects, right? To really focus on what those things are. And there's a ton of them out there available to just sort of drive you to thinking through what might be important things or what might be important memories that you can write about to get there. In terms of the essay, so the Common Application often allows you to talk about a challenging time, or something you've overcome. And I would say what I would warn against is this is the most difficult essay to be unique in, and to really show your individuality, because the challenge essay is most often, there was this thing that many people have done, and then I did it and I won the day. And so often people will get hung up in that theme, and that's basically what their essay tells me, and doesn't tell me much about their experience in it. So they have been really great challenge essays, but the really effective challenge essays are ones that reflect much more deeply on you and your personal experience and things that you see on this chart. So what was the challenge? And then more importantly, what was the effect on you of that challenge? What were your feelings that you had as you were going through that challenge? What were your needs? What did I do about it is less important, right? What I learned from it very specifically, and not quotes from people that are not you. Quotes are other people's thoughts, other people's ideas. What we want to know is, what did you personally learn? What were your personal feelings? What did you personally change in your life, or how did it affect you personally? That stays focused on you. And so the challenge essay can be really difficult to be effective and not have it be the same essay. You know, I went to the Model UN, and we were having a hard time pulling together, and I was able to pull us together, and we won the competition. I've read that essay a ton of times. The basketball competition, you know, we showed up, and, you know, it was a challenge, and I pulled our team together and we won the game. All of those are essays, themes that we hear often, but very rarely does a student give us the essence of who they are. Like I said, the young woman who was writing about her ski competition, she was effective when we refocused her writing to really focus on her mental thought when she was standing at the gate, her mental experience of the things in her life, the key moments in her life that made her strong. And she built out those moments in her life that made her strong and effective. And then what she was thinking and experiencing at the end, not the outcome, but very specifically her experiences. So then she was able to do this challenge essay in a much more focused way that described for us who she is. And so I would say, you know, as you think about that, make sure you stay always close to who you are. Because what we want to know is, what is your story? Make sure you're telling your story and not someone else's story. So again, what's your story? Is it unique to you? Ways that you can do that is to stay close to how to show, not tell, what your experience is. Don't tell me about your experience. Show me through all of your senses. What were your smells? What were your tastes? How did you feel? What were your memories? Use all of your senses to really show me and not just tell me about your experience. In the end, these are my final tips for your essay writing. Don't repeat what's in other parts of your application. Don't tell me about your achievements and list them resume style. Don't tell me about, you know, academic challenges, very aloof. Don't tell me about a research piece that you did. It shouldn't sound like a research paper. Show me the outcome. Tell me more personally about your outcome. Address the prompt. If you're talking to a prompt in the Common Application, do make sure that it does actually focus on the prompt. I actually don't care much about that, but some of my colleagues really are very passionate and upset when you choose a prompt and don't actually speak to it. So there is an option to write about anything that's important to you. If you're not going to address the prompt, choose that option. Be authentic. Make sure that your essay sounds like you and not your mom or dad or teacher or all of your friends, but you. It sounds like you in that essay. Don't try too hard. So don't try too hard to make it something that sounds like is going to save the earth or win the day. We just want to know about you and your very personal experience, no matter how big or small that experience is. And then proofread, and proofread again, because definitely we often have students who have missed spelling or little glitches or a duplicate in their essay. So it's not uncommon that students have just not proofread enough their essay. One of my favorite ways to make sure, and I think most important ways is to make sure your essay does all of these things, every single one. It can be found most easily when you read aloud. There doesn't have to be anyone else in the room, but if there's someone that you trust that you can read to and they won't interrupt and they'll just listen, when you read aloud your essay, it allows you, first of all, to catch any grammar errors or words where you think, wow, that word's really big and may sound impressive, sounds nothing like me. And it's going to be clear in the essay that that's not my voice. Take that word out, put a different word in that you'd actually say in your essay. Or if you're saying, oh, you know what, this doesn't sound like me, this isn't my voice, I'd actually say it like this, put it in the way that you would actually say it, you know, put it in your feelings and your voice. And then again, you can catch all sorts of errors when you're reading aloud. And finally, don't let other people give you too much feedback on your essay to the point where it doesn't sound like you. We want to learn about you again. So that would be my largest wisdom that I have for you, is to read aloud and make it sound like you.
Thank you, Nicole. I love you for that wonderful presentation. It was really fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I have now known you for so many years. And I discovered 2 new islands of yours today, you know? So as you were giving people tips about writing essays, this whole presentation for me was like an essay written by you. And the first island that I discovered of yours today was the Disney movies and your 2 kids. I knew about the kids, but I didn't know about the Disney movies. And the second island that I discovered about you was the German heritage and the pickled herrings. So I will remember that. So really, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for coming and doing such a brilliant job today.
Thank you. Thank you. Such a pleasure, as always, to see you.
Same here, and I look forward to meeting in person next time. And in the interest of time today, I will close the session. But thank you again so much. I know that students have really benefited from listening to you today.
Thank you. And if anyone has questions, do reach out. Niraj has my email, and I'm always happy to meet via virtual or through email. So thank you so much. I appreciate all of your time. And hopefully you have a little bit of break, all of you, soon from all of the craziness. So
yes.
Best to you all. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And in the interest of self-promotion, as a last message, I have to put this book up. You spoke about the college essay guide. This is a book that is written by me, which talks about 51 successful essays. All of these students have access to it. And, you know, I want to hand you a personal copy of this the next time we meet.
I'm waiting for my copy.
You will definitely get it.
I'm so excited to read it. Yeah. I always learn so much from my college counseling friends. So I look forward to getting my copy. Thank you so much. I'm honored.
Take care, Nicole, and stay safe.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. You too. Bye.